We have not talked enough about our poll question today either, and it's for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. Who is the best NFL team at Christmas? As you would notice, times are a-changing in the NFL. There was no Thursday night game last night. There's a triple header on Saturday, and then the rest of the Week 16 slate goes Sunday. Your options for the best NFL team at Christmas, as determined by producer Clark: the 49ers, the Ravens, the Saints, or the Seahawks. Leading the way on Twitter, 63% of you saying the Baltimore Ravens and their star quarterback Lamar Jackson. We got the poll up on Facebook too. 49.3% of you saying the Baltimore Ravens. Does that make them Super Bowl favorites? I would suggest it does. As we welcome into the bunker our Director of Scouting, Craig Smith, and from the Calgary Stampeders, Richard Sindani, Rams grad. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Hey. You know, Smitty, can I jump right in before we warm up Richard with that question? Your thoughts on the NFL here with a couple weeks to go. And did we get the right four teams?
I think so. Yeah, I think those definitely are the right ones. There's some that are just barely hanging on. The Green Bay Packers, the Vikings, obviously the Pats. But that's Kansas City Chiefs as well. Mm-hmm. But, those are, I think so. I definitely think you got the right ones. I'm hoping that the Seahawks and the Saints are playing in the championship for the National Football Conference, and then I'd love to see Kansas City and Baltimore. And if those four teams are in it, I'll be pretty happy.
There is some exciting football left to be played. And Richard Sindani, before we get into your CFL story, Regina guy, 24 years of age, signed up with the Calgary Stampeders. You were nodding your head with the Ravens. Do you go along with that?
Yeah, I do, actually. I feel like they're the most complete team if you look at how they execute on offense and how their defense just rallies around the football.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm all in. Obviously, the Cowboys, they're not going to the Super Bowl. But that's my team, by the way. That's why I bring it up. But at least they're must-see TV, just like the shows that feature train derailments and car crashes. That's what the Dallas Cowboys are. Richard, what's it like living in Regina, being from Regina, but being a Calgary Stampeder? Can you tell me what that's like?
It's conflict of interest, if you want to put it that way. It's funny. My family growing up, we've only known Rough Rider football. That's all we've had. That's kind of how I started football too. Just watching the Rough Riders. I always wanted to be part of the show, and now I'm wearing red.
I know, and I really appreciate producer Clark getting you on in the bunker, and Craig's probably going to have far more questions for you than I do. Okay, yeah. But now, having said that, I would think it would almost be torture in a way when you don't make it to the big game and win it all. Like, are people in your face about not getting to the Grey Cup this year, or are they respectful of that?
You know what? Like, they would be. I mean, which makes sense because I think I say we, but it's the program. I think they've been in it since 2011. They've been to the Western Conference. So for me, I think it's not too much pressure, not too much in my face, but it is with Bo and the likes of Eric Rodgers or Reggie, the big names on our team. They kind of face the heat a little bit more than I would.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I look at Rams that go to Calgary, the first guy that comes to mind is Brett Jones,
right?
And then yourself, and I don't know. Mark Mueller.
I thought you were going to say Mueller before.
No, well, Mark, I guess in order. But mind you, Brett was there before Mark.
Yeah,
but they do something to you mentally over there. Mm-hmm. And where guys don't want to ever leave Calgary once they go there.
Right.
What happens?
I don't know. I think it's just a culture. I think it's just the guys that you're around. As far as football goes, they try to challenge you with your knowledge capacity. And when you succeed, it's addicting. You just want to get in it. You want to learn more about the game, and it's just keeps feeding your drive to play.
You jump in anytime, Smitty. I can see the wheels going.
Well, Frank McChrystal set up a workout back at Leibel Field, I guess 2016 was it?
Yeah, it was 16, yeah.
And Richard and who was the DB? I can't remember.
Jordy Kabamba.
Another talented kid. But so I worked him out and definitely recommended him back in Winnipeg. And then when Richard got taken, Kyle belted out, "Smitty, that's your guy," because he's a guy that I looked at and I thought was good. And the frustration of player personnel, it happened again. But hey, you understand how it is and where you pick, and you can't get everybody that you like. So I thought, I was so happy to see the success that Richard had as he developed and making big plays, making catches, and then getting a ring last year, and you can just by listening to him talk,
smart guy.
Talk about football players are stupid. Well, listen to this guy talk. Listen to Jordan Reeves talk. I mean, it's it's quite impressive.
Well, and our friend Jack Fulton's watching from Calgary. He says it's obvious Richard is on his way to being an all-star in the CFL, but I can tell you Richard is even a better human being, character plus integrity. Why would our friend Jack say that, Richard?
Because it's true.
I say that facetiously. Talk about your relationship with Jack Fulton, if you don't mind, from Life Choice Dynamics.
Yeah, so Jack, he comes in a lot. He talks to, primarily the younger guys on our team because he can kind of connect with us early, kind of give us a vision of how things work as far as finances, living, and being away from home and how to manage that a little bit. And so I spent a lot of time talking to Jack and just getting the ins and outs. And after practice, he's always there giving the fist bumps with his ring on his one of his fingers. It hurts all the time, but he's a great influence for us as men moving on. Football's not forever, and he's always in our corner. He told us, no matter where you are or where you're going in life, give me a call. Let me know where you want to be and how you want to get there. So Jack's a great guy for us.
It's if I can just jump in, it's a groundbreaking, one of the first of its kind programs in pro football,
right,
that Jack came up with.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is just great. Tell me about the transition from Canadian college football to the pros. Tell me about the transition that you made. You obviously made the transition very, very nicely, but tell me about that.
So it's actually funny. It was the junior program when I had tried out for the Stampeders. Right. So I think it was a little bit more of a jump actually. But as far as the Canadian college jump to the pros, I think, obviously there's a huge difference between lining up against, someone who was thrown in a DB in year 2 who's 5'9", maybe 160. I'll have my way with him. But in the pros, the guys are exactly the same size as you, as strong as you, as fast as you. You have to work in tandem with your coaches to figure out a way to run your routes properly, figure out a way to get open, create separation. And then from that point on, it's pretty much skills you've been working on since you were a kid. But as far as the knowledge goes, it's worlds different. Like it's completely different. You have Dave Dickinson coaching you, and not someone that they've handpicked for junior football. It's a complete jump. But what you do is you learn how to study. You follow the players that are around you that have had success. Like Kamar Jordan has. I sit beside him actually in the locker room, and he'll let me know if I'm learning things, if I'm picking things up, or if I'm not. And the truth is always going to come out from him. Then there's Bo Levi, who throws the football. If you don't know your stuff, you're not on the field, and that's something that I really enjoy.
How long did it take you to get comfortable with the playbook, comfortable with the offense, comfortable with the surroundings, comfortable with being a professional athlete?
It hurts to say it, but it actually took like a full calendar year. If you think about it, I went junior Colts, and then 17, I was drafted, and they had the idea that I'd go back to school just because the years of eligibility worked out perfectly for them. So it took a whole year. When I went back to University of Calgary, they kind of loaded me on with learning every single position and kind of having, more of the responsibility on the offense. As a guy goes down here, you'll move to that spot, leave the position that you've been primarily studying. And I think when I got to Stampeders, I think the flexibility of them to be able to put me out at wideout, put me into the interior slot positions, and if someone gets hurt, like I think in Winnipeg we lost Eric and Reggie, and they're the interior guys. Those are our money positions, and to be able to go into those positions and still contribute the best I can as a Canadian player, I think that kind of generates value for myself, but then generates value as a team. So I think that's how that would work.
Richie, Ed Bankowski writes in, he says, hi to Richie from fellow Ram alumnus Edmund Bankowski. And I got to think, Rich, you're excited about where you fit in with Calgary because you've got your playing time, you've got your catches, but the best is yet to come. And I look at Kamar Jordan. He was on that practice roster for, I think, 3 years before he became Kamar Jordan. Exactly. Like in Calgary, talk about how they do. They don't rush you onto the field.
Nope. I think they with their player personnel, they bring players in with the idea that eventually, if they stick through the trials and tribulations and work hard and wait for that opportunity. Reggie actually is interesting as well. I think it was last year Reggie sat for about 8 weeks. And, obviously knowing Reggie, he wasn't happy about it. He wasn't pleased about it. It draws some impatience, but you see the fruits of his labor. Yeah. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day for him. This guy went off last year, and now he has an opportunity to venture off and see the NFL. And so with Kamar coming in, when Reggie was a little bit younger, he was the guy that was a voice in my ear. And he constantly told me, like, I didn't have a choice. I had to stick with this. This is my opportunity. And, if you stick with it, and you go through the rookie contract, you go through seeing guys come in and take your position that you were working for. There's more to it. There's more joy when you work from the ground up. And I think Kamar and Reggie are perfect examples of that.
How sweet was it for you to sip champagne from the cup?
I mean, my parents, they, obviously where we're from, drinking or anything like that, like they're not cool with it. So, when I did that, I was like, I hope my parents don't see it. But honestly, it was a thrill. I remember, I think Tavares Daniels was actually pouring beer on my head, and I was trying to chug, I think what was in the cup. Like, I think it was some Coke or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, no, it was a thrill. I honestly couldn't believe it. I actually got tested as soon as the Grey Cup was done, like once we were done playing on the field, and so I couldn't quite celebrate right away. But when I got in there,
Wow.
it was a dream.
Wow.
It was a dream.
Rich, let me ask you a question on behalf of all CFL fans, particularly Rider fans.
For sure.
What is Bo Levi Mitchell really like?
You know what? I always wondered that. When you watch him on TV, you see a guy that like. And like he knows this. I think like I tell him this any day. You see a guy like you just don't know if you would enjoy being around on TV. When you're around him, it is jokes. It is it's as vibrant. We get so caught up in playing football and trying to get that next contract or get that cup. Bo's pretty laid back. He's a laid back guy. I know it's hard to believe. He's pretty laid back. He keeps everybody loose, and in games where things aren't going our way, he comes back and says, "Hey guys, just relax. We're playing football. This is part of the game. We're supposed to be down. We're supposed to go through something." And I think he really knows that better than a lot of the guys, especially this year. We're all young, except for guys like Eric and stuff like that, and some guys on our own linemen, but. He's a classy guy. I know it sounds like it's tough. It's for Rider fans, I guess. There's that war of words or whatever that happened. I don't know which year it was, but he's actually a good guy. He just likes to stir the pot a bit.
It was 2016 when he outed Chris Jones for the 30-person practice roster. That's where it started, right, Smitty?
Yeah.
That's where it started.
Yeah.
But I mean, Bo Levi would not be the leader. He would not have the winning percentage that he has if he wasn't the leader, right? So, and you kind of alluded to it earlier. He holds guys accountable.
Oh, he does. I remember. I think it was more so this year because I took on a big role with Juwan Breskayson getting injured, and then I think someone else got injured. I kind of forgot. But this year, more than ever, he was quite honestly in my ear every single practice, and not always in a bad way, in a good way. But I think it's either way, it's for production. He sees he sees potential in me, and he wants me to try to get to that potential that is there. And he'll pull strings that he knows could break a player or make a player. And I think that he only does that because he's went through that. I think he was behind Kevin Glenn. I think he's behind Henry Burris, guys that have had great success in this league. Even I think he was behind Drew Tate at one point as well. So he's been that guy. And there's only one quarterback position, so he had to take everything with a little obviously, there was salt in some of his wounds, but he knew that this was going to shape him to be the guy he is today, and I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
More with Richard Sindani coming up. It's a Football Friday here. Craig Smith, our Director of Scouting, in the bunker. We'll be right back. By the way, you can fire your questions at us. Prairie Mobile text line 306-840-8777. Prairie Mobile, your authorized SAS telemobility dealer. We'll check the poll results and a whole lot more. We'll be right back on Facebook Live and listen live at rodpeterson.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpeterson.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.